Brothers and sisters, welcome to one more class. Vou começar a aula de hoje lembrando vocês que o Spring Fest acontece em 21 de outubro e a deadline, o prazo para enviar as atividades é no 20 de outubro. Eu vou abrir a sessão para envio de atividades na semana que vem, mas vocês já podem me enviar os pré-projetos por WhatsApp, grupos de 1 a 5 pessoas. Well, guys, without further ado, let's get started into the lesson with the homework correction, alright? So last week we read a text about video games, gaming, and you had the exercises from pages 32, 33, and the review to do as a homework. So let's make these corrections right here, guys, okay? So, analise as alternativas sobre o conteúdo do texto. Are video games addictions becoming a bigger problem? A seguir. Segundo o texto, é correto dizer que Daniel é citado no texto porque seu vício em videogames afetou drasticamente o seu desempenho escolar. Leia as frases a seguir e assinale a função dos organizadores textuais destacados. Por exemplo, as well, though, as, high, as. E a alternativa que condiz, a alternativa que traduz a ideia de cada conectivo é adição, contraste e comparação, alternativa D. Nesse cartoon aqui, nós temos uma mensagem de computador. Congratulations, you have finally beaten Farmville. You may not return to your real life. You may now return to your real life. Observem bem aqui esse cartoon. What the heck? E, bem, o trecho que mais se aproxima da crítica realizada no cartoon é que when gaming starts preventing people from going to school and work, it becomes a concern. Apesar que eu discorde dessa afirmação, pois não acho que os games que fazem as pessoas saírem das vidas consideradas normais, e sim elas mesmas, né? A crítica do cartoon é centrada na ideia de que os jogos controlam a vida do jogador, sendo que, na verdade, os jogadores têm controle sobre suas próprias vidas, mas por algum motivo preferem jogar no videogame. Bem, aqui nós temos um group work, que é uma surveyzinha, né? Olha só. Prepare a questionnaire for interviewing people about gaming. Include questions about the responders' preferences about gaming types, media, the use of internet, TV, games device, telephone, who they play with, how long in a day they spend on it, and what is their opinion about gaming, getting on the way of our social activities like school, work, or family relationships. Revise your questionnaire and select your respondents to start the survey. It is better if you ask the same questions to all your responders and write the introduction establishing the objectives to your report. E finalmente, revise your text and present the results. Nós vamos fazer isso aqui de uma maneira um pouquinho diferente, como vocês não têm contato direto com seus colegas. Eu vou abrir uma sessão para você postar o tema, tá? E o tema, obviamente, aqui então da página 33 vai ser o seguinte: vocês vão fazer esse questionário sobre videogames e vício em videogames destinados a mim, que sou um gamer. Então, em inglês, vocês vão montar esse questionário com perguntas relacionadas a videogame. E eu vou dar total liberdade para que nesse questionário vocês me perguntem o que vocês quiserem. Beleza? Então, na aba de tema, página 33, faça um questionário referente a videogame com perguntas em inglês para o seu professor. Beleza? Vamos aqui para o review, então, galera. Modern Entertainment e Reading Tips. Bom, using cognates, contextual clues and familiar words to help you figure out the meaning of unfamiliar words and expressions. Bem, Temos aqui Olympic Sports, que é a cross, e temos outras que são down, né? Vamos dar uma olhada então nas dicas, né? Números 2, 5, 6, 8, 9, 11, 15, 17, 20, 21, 1, 3, 4, etc. E aqui embaixo temos as respostas. Vamos lá. The sport of fighting someone with your hands while wearing very thick gloves. Number 2, that would be, I think, boxing or box. Let's check it out. Where's the number 2 right here? Boxing. All right. Number 5, the sport of shooting arrows from a bow. That's number 5 right there. Shooting arrows from a bow. Archery. Number 6, the sport or activity of riding a bicycle. That would be cycling. Number 6, cycling. Number 8, a game in which 2 teams of 11 players kick a round ball and try to score a goal. That's soccer or football. Number 8, let's check it out. What do we have here if it's soccer or football? It's football, actually. All right, which is the universal name. Number 9, the sport or activity of traveling on water in a sailboat. This is sailing. Number 9, sailing. Number 11, any sport or activity in which guns are used. Number 11, let's check it out. Number 11, shooting. Okay, right here, number 11, shooting. Number 15, relating to riding horses. That would be riding or horseback riding. But the name of the Olympic sport is actually, let me just check it out, the number here. Number 15, right? For the number 15, here we go. It's equestrian. When the athlete horseback rides a horse, obviously. Number 17 is the sport of lifting weights, which is probably weight lifting. Well, let's check it out because they have variants of the name. It's number 17, right? Yeah, let's check it out. Number 17, weight lifting, as I suggested before. Number 20, it's a game played on ice, which players slide heavy stones towards a mark in the center. That's curling. Number 20, curling. A long distance race that has 3 parts, such as swimming, bicycling, and running. That would be triathlon. Let's see the down ones. Number 1, the sport of racing in long, narrow boats that are moved by using oars. That is rowing, which we have here, rowing. Number 3, the sport of fighting with a light thin sword, the EP, that's the sword, the EP. And number 3, the sport is fencing. Fencing, number 3. Number 4, a game in which 2 or 4 people use rackets to hit a ball across the net. That's tennis. A sport done in or on water. Number 5, I think it might be aquatics sports, right? Number 7, a game in which 2 teams of 6 players hit a large ball back and forth over a high net. It's basketball though, right? Number 7 might be basketball. Oh, it's volleyball. I'm sorry about that. A sports event that consists on 5 different sports. Tricky, but it's pentathlon. Pentathlon. All right. Number 12, the sport or activity of moving over snow or skis. That would be skiing. Number 13, type of martial art. Judo. It's judo, 4 letters. Judo. A game played by 2 teams of 5 players who get points by throwing a ball through a net. That's basketball. Sports event in which people compete against each other in running races, jumping and throwing things. I think that's let's just check it out. Number 16. Okay, here, athletics. Number 18, a game in which 2 teams of players use their hands to pass a ball and try to score goals. That's handball. And the activity of sports of moving quickly over the surface or skates. Number 19. That would be skating. All right. Well, guys, here in the reading connections, well, before reading, I have some questions to ask you guys out. Oh, let me just mark here. Homework, which is page 33, right? Page 33. Ask a survey about gaming to your teacher. Use English questions only. There you go. Reading connections. Before reading, write down a good and bad feature of video gaming. Check your partner's answers. I'm gonna write down some good and bad feature of playing video games. That would say, let me just separate this one first. So the good one would be improving mental and coordination skills. There you have it. And the bad one would be expensive habit. Let's proceed. Do you think that video games based on violence can lead kids to aggression behavior, and explain? Well, I don't think so. I think people who have a predisposition to develop this aggressive skills, they might be affected, but in general, it's an inner situation where it may vary from player to player. Some people will experience these violent games and will not be affected. So we cannot generalize by prejudice towards video games, though. Well, but that's my opinion. You can tell me your opinion, uh, commenting or writing together with your homework. I would be I will be really happy to take a look at it. All right. Number 3, in your opinion, should the government ban video games? Obviously not. They should reduce the taxation on video games to make it easier to people acquire them. Well, skim the text and choose the best title for it. We have 3 options for titles there. Violent video games linked to child aggression, video games linked to mental health problems, and video games do's and don'ts. Let's read this text together, and then you can choose the title which is most appropriated for it in your opinion. And later on, you guys have also the with the activities related to the video as a homework as well. So I'm gonna get here another homework to you guys, which will be homework page 37, which is text related. All right? Let's check it out, the text though. And then for the next class, we take a look at the homework text related. All right? The answers of it. Well, let me just zoom here to make a better reading myself. There we go. About 90%, okay, about 90% of US kids ages 8 to 16 play video games, and they spend about 13 hours a week doing so. More if you are a boy. Now, a new study suggests virtual violence in these games may make kids more aggressive in real life. Kids in both the US and Japan who reported playing lots of violent video games had more aggressive behavior months later than their peers who did not. According to the study, which appears in the November issue of the journal Pediatrics, the researchers especially tried to get to the root of the chicken or egg problem. Do children become more aggressive after playing video games, or are aggressive kids more attracted to violent games, as I previously suggested? It's a murky and controversial issue. Many studies have linked violence in TV shows and video games to violent behavior, but when states have tried to keep under 18 kids from playing games rated M for mature, the proposed restrictions have often been challenged successfully in court. In the new study, Dr. Craig A. Anderson, which is a PhD of Iowa State University in Ames, and his colleagues looked at how children and teens' video game habits at one time point related to their behavior 3 to 6 months later. The study included three groups of kids: 181 Japanese students ages 12 to 15, and 1,050 Japanese students aged 13 to 18, and 364 UK kids ages 9 to 12. The US children listed their three favorite games and how often they play them. In the younger Japanese group, the researchers looked at how often the children played 5 different violent video games genres: fighting, action, shooting, adventure, among others. In the older group, they gauged the violent in kids' favorite game genres and time they spent playing them each week. The violence in kids' favorite games genres and the time they spent playing them each week. Japanese children rated their own behavior in terms of physical aggression, such as hitting, kicking, or getting into fights with other kids. For the US, children rated themselves too, but the researchers took it into account reports from their peers and teachers as well. In every group, children who were exposed to more video game violence did become more aggressive over time than their peers who had less exposure. This was true even after the researchers took into account how aggressive the children were at the beginning of the study, a strong predictor of future behavior. The findings are pretty good evidence that violent video games do indeed cause aggression behavior, says Dr. L. Rowell Huseman, the director of the Research Center for Group Dynamics at the University of Michigan's Institute for Social Research in Ann Arbor. There are two ways violent media can spur people to violent actions, said Huseman, who has been studying violence in media and behavior for more than 30 years. First is imitation. Children who watch violence in the media can internalize the message that the world is a hostile place. He explains and that acting aggressively is an okay way to deal with it. Also, he says kids can become desensitized to violence. When you are exposed to violence, day in and day out, it loses its emotional impact on you. Huseman said, once you're emotionally numb to violence, it's much easier to engage in violence. And here, the activities for the homework on page 37. Fill in the box with the appropriate words. Some of the parts of the speech have more than one word, different meaning. Use a dictionary may try to help you out. So we have verbs here, search, attract, nouns, adjectives, and adverbs, which give characteristic to actions. For the number 6, you had to choose the synonyms of the words aggression in italic. For number 7, choose the passage from the article that presents different from Japanese and difference from Japanese and American research, and a link between video games and child aggression as a probability, not a conclusion, fact. Well, guys, these are the homeworks for the next week. And next week we're going to be starting Unit 5 live here in the Unit 5. We're going to be talking about relationships. Hope to see you guys next week. Catch you next time. Later and bye-bye.